Hey Crestwood, happy Wednesday to you all. Hope you all are doing well. It's a beautiful day out there. The heat has broken a little bit, so that allows us to be back outside. Hope you had a great 4th. Hope you still have all your fingers. That's always an important thing to check on after that, but hope it was a good celebration for you, a time of rest, a time of reflection, a time of thanksgiving for the freedoms we enjoy as a country and as followers of Christ. I certainly love the joy of serving as your pastor, and glad you bring this devotional for this July 8th. So this Sunday, I will not be with you. I will be preaching, but I will be preaching at a different church, Cynthiana Christian Church. One of our members, Jim Abernathy, our early service accompanist Cindy's husband. Jim is a retired Baptist pastor, and he's going to be doing a pulpit swap. So he's a member of our church, but he's serving an interim in Cynthiana after the death of their beloved minister for over 40 years, Larry Bishop. And he's been there a couple of years, and so he reached out and said, hey, would you like to come preach at Cynthiana, and I'll preach at Crestwood? And I said, that would be great. So I will be going up there. I will miss you all. I'm really glad they don't have an early service, so you have to preach once. Jim, he'll have to preach twice, so we're going to pay him a little extra for that. But I'm excited for you to be able to hear him preach. He's preached for us a couple times before, and he's just a wonderful and engaging presence, a deep theological thinker, and I'm excited for you to have that time with him. And one of the things I really love about doing something like this is I think we need to have different voices in our pulpit on a regular basis. I bring a perspective to the pulpit, which after our 16 and a half years together, you probably have a pretty good idea of who I am and where I'm coming from. So it's really important for me to have voices of other people who are bringing the message, who are participating in worship. That's why we try to get guest speakers on a fairly regular basis, and I hope to get some more this fall. That's why I want Kelly and Missy and our whoever is our associates to preach. That's why I want us to hear different perspectives on Scripture. I've loved it when we've had Dr. Denise Bell from the seminary or Dr. Chris Dorsey from the denomination come and preach. I loved when we did our pulpit swap several years ago where 5 disciples churches rotated preaching once a year. And so I got to preach in 4 other churches and you got to hear 4 other ministers. I think it's really important that we don't lock ourselves into one perspective. I think that's a challenge in some churches. If they're only hearing from the same pastor every single week, then that pastor's theology can become the church's theology. And I don't think that's always healthy. I think it's okay to disagree with what's being said from the pulpit. I think it's okay for you to have questions about it, for it to confound you or to confuse you. I love, my favorite comment I get from someone when they're leaving church on Sunday is, wow, that sermon really made me think. Good. That's what I want it to do. I'm not there to provide you answers. I'm there to make you think, hopefully more deeply and more thoughtfully about what Scripture has to say and how that impacts your life and how you live out your faith. And I think hearing from a different voice can do that, and not just in the pulpit. How are we opening ourselves up to different voices in our lives to make sure that we're not creating an echo chamber around us with only people who agree with us and think the same way and see the world the same way? I think a lot of the issues we have in our country today are people aren't open to hearing different perspectives. As soon as they hear something to disagree with, they demonize it, they ostracize the person, they label them as an enemy, and they don't take time to think about what's being said and how it might shape what they believe. None of us were born believing what we believe. We all came to our beliefs, and those beliefs were shaped by people in our lives, parents, grandparents, friends, teachers, professors, pastors, that help us believe what we believe today. But those beliefs should be ever evolving. I think we should always be willing to say, you know what, I may be wrong about this, because I think that statement opens us up to hearing different perspectives. Now, it also makes us vulnerable, right? And that's a challenge. We might have to consider changing our mind about something. And in our world today, it seems like that is a sin to change our mind. That once we lock into a position, we have to hold on to that position. And even if we think we're wrong, we double down on that position. I think we should always be evolving as citizens of this country, as people of faith, as humans, in the way we see and think about the world. The only way change happens is if we open ourselves up to that. So I'd like you to do an inventory today. What voices do you have around you? Especially what voices do you have around you who disagree with you, who can speak the truth to you in a way that is different than what you believe? How are you constantly challenging yourself to grow and evolve in what you believe? It might mean changing your mind, might mean changing your heart, But by doing that, you're continuing to grow in your faith and your understanding of who God is calling you to be in this world. Don't get locked in to one way of believing and think that's the only way, because our God is so much bigger than that and has so much more to say. The key for us is to make sure we are listening. Go out there today and listen for what God has to say to you. God bless you, Crestwood.